All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rahak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, to the men on the highways and the byways that are pushing out this word and truth and sincerity, and to the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. To you all, I say Shalom. My name is Ahmawan Ahyash, and I'm back with another lesson through the power and the spirit of Yahweh by Shema Lord willing. This is edifying. I came across this video here on Instagram, and I wanted to do a lesson on it. They're going into the DID, okay, which is the digital, you know what, right? Which is, you know, has been making you know, mainly throughout alternative media, social media, these alternative sites, people have been blowing the whistle and speaking on the functionality of what is known as the digital ID and what it's going to look like for society in the near future and things of that nature. So, you know, unless you've been under a rock, you know, you would have heard of this, you know, because people believe it's going to lead to, you know, social credit system, a mass control on a different type of level, more so than what Esau has now, because they, at this point, you know, they monitor everything, they see everything, they know, you know, all of your movements, you know, these phones, this, you know, and the technology that they have now, you know, they can see and monitor not every single thing, but for the most part, you know, mostly everything. But there's a next level to this, right? There's digital IDs, there's social credit scores, the social credit system. There's, you know, obviously the surveillance is at a high level, but there's more to be achieved by Esau when it comes to his power, his control. And ultimately, like we always say, all roads lead to the MOTB, because that's going to be the ultimate form of control, bowing to the beast. What people know as their freedoms right here in America will be stripped away. And you know, it's our job as the watchmen of Yahweh by Shema Shai to reporting those things as they come. Now, the lady mentions digital ID, and she's gonna skip to a clip of another guy going into it, and you know, he's going into more than just you know, the digital ID, but which is some of the things I wanted to highlight, and I want to make mention of obviously prophecy, because you measure the times with these current events and the things that are taking place in society. You match it up with prophecy, and that's how you get the truth, you know. But I wanted to make some other points about, you know, what this man is going to say. So I'm gonna play the videos. It's a quick clip, and then I'll make some points and get into some precepts.
If they start requiring digital ID to fly now and use the internet, what are you going to do?
Think about it. YouTube, Google, Spotify, maybe even email. If they tie it all to a digital ID and you refuse, you're locked out. But here's the thing, we still have time. The internet wasn't built by big tech, and we don't have to let them own it. Start here. Ditch Gmail for Proton Mail or Tutanota. Use Brave, Tor, or LibreWolf to browse. Switch to Odyssey instead of YouTube. Back up your files on Nextcloud, not Google Drive. They want compliance through convenience, but privacy and freedom are still options if you take them. If we all start migrating now, we weaken their grip. The more people who resist, the harder it is for them to enforce it. Tag someone who still thinks this is a conspiracy. Show them we're building solutions.
If you're new here, hey.
Actually, that's not the end of it. Let me keep going.
My name is Tiffany. I share all the truth with solutions that we need to know, because when we know the truth, we can take back our power and shift the collective consciousness into one of God, love, and light, instead of fear and evil and stagnation where they want us. They want a world of worker bees. They want you just sick enough so you can pay those big pharma bills that are going in their back pockets, although thank God it looks like RFK is going to fix that with the kickbacks they get for the you-know-what. So anyways, make sure to follow, share with a friend, comment ready below if you want enough time and money, freedom to live off the grid, like thousands of us are doing. Just make sure you're following and check your request folder. Keyword is ready. If they...
All right, so real quick before I get into what the dude said, she said, basically talking about living off the grid and how this government wants a society of worker bees that are just fully aligned with this system and everything that they put out. And she talked about living off the grid, and if you want to live off the grid and figure out a way, it's all that shit is cool, right? As a theory. And if you're in a position and you're thinking, I don't want to be controlled by the government, it's like you really don't have the ability to live off the grid, to be honest, because Esau didn't set up this society for it to be sustainable. Okay, you can live off the grid for a while, right? But again, you eventually, all of the land is his. Like, how far you think you're gonna go? What's off the grid? You gonna prop up a society in the woods somewhere, in the wilderness somewhere, and try to live off the grid with no electricity and no nothing? His society is completely dependent on these things. Okay, and where you gonna go where he can't find you? Right? He's gonna come across your little off the grid, whatever you want to call it, sanctuary somewhere, wherever you know what I mean. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that again, it's not something that's sustainable, because ultimately the only way to get out of this this new world order system that Esau is coming with is being a part of the elect of Yahawashi. Okay, that's the only way. All right, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. Actually, let me get that. I actually had that set up, prepared as one of the precepts, but I'm gonna just go to it now, because that's what we're gonna need in these last days. Not no fucking living off the grid, because it's not sustainable. And again, you could live off the grid for a certain amount of time for a, if you find a way to, store food, and you know how to grow food, and you know how to, live off the land and this, that, and the third, you might be able to live off the grid for a certain amount of time. Those of us of the hopeful elect who are going to be denying this system, we might need to live off the grid for a second, but it's not something it's not a sustainable plan. It's not a plan of us hopeful members of the elect, right? Ultimately, salvation comes by the way of being delivered by Yahawashi and being part of the elect, because that's really the only way you're going to get out of this and get away and deny this beast system, this new world order system. Isaiah 33:6 says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. We fear Yahawashi. We believe in Yahawashi and the power of Yahawashi. Okay, because the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and he has the power to implement a new world order system, a social credit, a digital ID, all of these things that you see Esau doing. He's been given the power by the Heavenly Father to do so. This is why, you're not going to be able to necessarily rebel in a way that doesn't get you killed, right? Or, thrown in jail, casted out. You're not going to be able to do that in Esau's, what he has planned, and how he's already has society, because everything is gradually getting to the point where, you're not going to be able to do shit without that MOTB, because that's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So you can blow the whistle and you can say all these things and come up with all this information as much as you want, but at the end of the day, man, you're going to have to in order to function in society in the near future, you're going to have that you're going to need that micro C hip. All right. Now, what the dude mentioned.
If they start requiring.
Let me see.
Start here.
What this guy mentioned, he was mentioning, the digital ID, and he was mentioning YouTube, Spotify, Google. He was mentioning email, and how they're all tied to the digital ID. And if you refuse that digital ID, you'll be locked out, right? And then he gave some alternatives, like alternative email browsers. He mentioned Odyssey instead of YouTube, which we know about, backing up your files with something called Nextfile instead of Google Drive or iCloud. All these different alternatives. And because what they want to do is, like they said, YouTube, Spotify, Google, emails, all going to be tied to a digital ID, which is like a one centralized location for everything, like one centralized system. And that's what Esau wants. That's what his new world system, that new world order system looks like. One centralized location and system for everything, right? To be stored in one place. Okay. And like I said, this guy mentioned, all these alternatives. But that's not how that's not how you're going to be able to defeat, this system. All right. He said the internet wasn't created by big tech. Right. So he's basically saying, the internet wasn't created by big tech. So, we don't really have to, give him that power. We don't have to relinquish power, basically. You know what I'm saying? But again, while the internet may not necessarily have been created by big tech, they control it, right? They control the internet. They control the access to information, right? Everything that we see is controlled by Esau, Edom. Let me just start off with Job 9:24, because I have that. It says, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. And if not, where and who is he? Okay, so the earth was given into the hand of the wicked to have control, to have this type of control, to have this type of power. This was set up by the Heavenly Father Yahawah, by Hashem Yahawashi. Right? So while he may not have created the internet, he has the control of it because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Right? And that's the deeper understanding that majority of these people don't understand. You can rebel against the beast, but it's not going to come to nothing. Right? He has control of his entire narrative. You look at the news outlets, they've been bought and paid off. Right? This whole propaganda machine, it has an agenda, man. And that agenda pushes a certain narrative for a big tech, like he mentioned, for big pharma, for these small hats, these elite bankers, and what they're trying to implement, this new system. Right? So as people like this continue to, because this is, people like this who get on the internet, make their videos, is cool because they come out with a lot of good information. You could gather and get some really good information from these whistleblowers. But I really wanted to do a video on this because what I thought about was I wanted to highlight the difference between the average whistleblower, which has good information. I'm not going to, act like this ain't good information, because it is. This is a lot. We pull a lot from what we see from these people. And a lot of them are just like Edomites who are fighting for like their American freedoms, right? Because they were sold the dream that you have these freedoms and these liberties and you have a certain level of say so, they allowed you to, they falsely made you believe that this is a democracy where your vote actually counts, right? And they gave you the idea, you're under the illusion that you actually have freedoms, but you don't, right? This is why you have to pay a certain level of tax on everything that goes in and out, whether it's income tax, whether it's a food service tax, a retail tax, this tax, that tax, you know what I'm saying? This is what it means by the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, right? And this is something you're not going to be able to really fight against necessarily, because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the absolute wicked, Proverbs 28:15 says, As a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the people. And this is a wicked ruler. This is the type, only a wicked ruler would want this type of control, right? Because this control is on the left-hand side. This ain't, it ain't like, this is a righteous thing that he's doing. He wants access to everything, and he wants a piece of your pie, even though he has all of the money, all of the resources, all of everything. He wants yours too, right? That's the greed that this Edomite possesses, As a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the people. And you can't tell me this. I mean, look at the state of the world, really. Not just America, Babylon the Great. The whole world is suffering under Esau Edom's rulership, under his power structure. And what this guy mentioned,
if they start requiring,
what this guy mentioned, he said, what did he say? He said something to basically saying like rebelling or like going against the system while your privacy and your freedom are still an option. Again, that's the illusion that these people are under, that you actually have freedom. Even right now, before this digital ID is implemented, people think they have a certain level of freedoms, but you don't. It's an illusion of freedom, because the moment you do some shit that Esau ain't with, there's still a level of laws and governance that you have to conform and live under in order for you to be really validated here in this society. He said the more people resist, the harder it is for them to enforce something like a digital ID, right? And in theory, that makes sense. The more people resist, the harder it is for them to enforce a digital ID. But his society is going to be geared towards, like, if you don't have a digital ID, you're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to buy. You're not going to be able to do this and do that. So people are going to give in, and on top of that, he's literally orchestrating the collapse of the society to where you don't have any choice. That's what I mean about those freedoms and those. You don't have privacy. You don't have. He's gonna tear down the society to the point where people are going to be begging for digital IDs. People are going to be begging for the microchip, right? Because he wants, as he implements this new world order system, he's going to try to take the path to the very least resistance, not exist, Salakia. The path to least resistance. And he's going to do that by breaking down the society and collapsing everything. The dollar, the money, the food system, the access to this, the job market, the stock market, crypto, whatever. However you think you're getting money and however you think you're sustaining yourself, he's going to collapse it. Right? And that's that auto ab chaos. He's going to bring order out of the chaos. He's going to create the chaos, that Hegelian dialectic. He's going to create the BS. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how he operates. That's who he is. He's the wicked. Right? The scriptures not say he shall come down with great wrath. Let's get that real quick. And these are the scriptures that we go over all the time, but we got to keep updating the profile. When I say updating the profile, I don't mean changing it, right? The doctrine's not going to change. It's going to be updated with new information, with new revelations and things that are happening in the society, okay? Things are going to be new revelations, meaning new things are going to be revealed as the days, weeks, and months go by, which are going to confirm the revelations that are written. The prophecies that are written are going to be confirmed by the things that are getting revealed in the society from day to day. Okay? Which is going to confirm our faith. have us believing, okay, and sustain us to the end. Yahawashi, Lord willing. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in him. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So the Esau know he got a short time. So this is why we're seeing things like this take place. This ain't no game. This ain't just, this ain't for your convenience. This ain't for your well-being. This is for Esau to come down with that great wrath. He know he got but a short time, so he trying to upset prophecies. He trying to gain as much. He trying to implement an MOTB and have you. He trying to merge his technology with man. That transhumanism. This nigga's not playing. He ain't playing no games, right? And while having information and knowing what's going on is good, the only covering is the covering of Yahawashi, right? So that path to least resistance is going to come in the form of pandemics, a lack of food, supply chain issues, the collapsing of the dollar, so on and so forth. All hell's going to break loose out here. People are going to be begging for whatever this man got in place. Digital IDs, MOTBs. They're going to be begging. What you got for me, Esau? That's what people are going to be saying. What you got? I'm taking it. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. Revelation 13:16 says, he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So it don't matter who you are, rich, poor, Jake, Edomite, no matter. He wants, you gonna have to, man, if you a living, breathing soul, you gonna have to take that MOTB. That's his plan. All right. But the elect is gonna reject this, which is why we have to continue to push the narrative and update the profile and continue to show, the truth behind these things. Because we at the end, but it's not the very end just yet. More things have to play out. Prophecy has to continue to come to pass. Things have to lead up to these prophecies that we speak of, whether it's Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, the World War III, deliverance and salvation of the elect. These things have to take place, but there's events that lead up to them that have to take place before they can actually come to pass. So if you're in a position and you think that you're going to be able to buck up against this and have some form of you're gonna have a plan set up where you live off the grid, or you are tapped into a different source, and this, that, and the third, you got another thing coming. All right. The only protection is the protection from on high, the protection of Yahawashi, because we dealing with the wicked. All right. And Esau is going to start showing his horns more and more as the days go on, because he has but a short time. So he going to come with that, you know what I mean? He going to make this, he going to have this society crumble and collapse to his knees and everything in it. Right? And he's going to be, he's trying to play your Lord and Savior. Right? A lot of people are going to fall for it, because that's their lot. That's their destiny, is to be destroyed by this man. All right? But for the elect, you got to get this while the getting is good, because we almost out of here. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, the elder bishops, the great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.